It's a very big shame. A very big shame.
Outrage as members of a coalition of civil society groups hold signs in protest over the alleged torture and killing of several Nigerian migrants in Libya. The groups say they've come to seek a public response from authorities here at the Libyan embassy.
From reports, these acts are not just happening on small scale, they're happening on large scale. And it's a massive cartel. You know, the Libyan people, this is one of the reasons why we are the embassy to say that the Libyan people must show leadership. You know, they must show the will, you know, to crack down on this cartel.
In its latest findings, the International Organization for Migration, IOM, estimates there are over 100,000 Nigerian migrants living in transit nations like Libya, in the hope they can cross the Mediterranean Sea into Europe. And despite the Nigerian government embarking on mass campaigns warning its citizens of the dangers of illegal migration, many still risk the journey. The Nigerian government has begun bringing stranded citizens home from Libya after a global outcry over reports that migrants there were being held against their will and tortured. Now, Libya's government said it would investigate these reports of migrants being sold as slaves and promises to provide justice. Although Libyan officials here in Abuja have taken temporary leave of absence, activists here vow to continue protests until all Nigerian migrants are brought home. Many of the protesters here say first-hand accounts of men and women confined in warehouses, prisons and courtyards as forced labor gave reason to protest.
Nobody ever thought after many centuries slavery were ever going to resurface. The main purpose why we had to come in group is to register our displeasure and our vacuity that what is taking place in Libya is totally unacceptable.
This is the time for us to condemn every act of barbarism just as this, because we cannot allow people to continue to dehumanize fellow human beings. We cannot allow Africans to dehumanize fellow Africans. This is the time for us, you know, to all come out and speak as one voice and let love reign over hate.
I will task my government to do the right thing, and I will also advise my fellow female, my brothers, to stay back home.
Voluntary humanitarian return assistance and reintegration programs are now working closely with the Nigerian government in host communities and inside detention centers in Libya, with a hope to end heightened reports of migrant abuses for several people, many who are fleeing economic hardships and conflict. Sophia Adengo, CGTN, Abuja, Nigeria.